we need to repent of our LARPing. We need to repent of treating the past as if it's really, really serious, and as if we would have done what was right and righteous and moral and good, and of ignoring those same or similar issues today. Christians today, especially evangelicals, especially conservative evangelicals, love to live action role play when it comes to moral or theological issues. We love to think about serious, big issues in the past and think, man, if I had been alive back then, I would have been on the right side. I would have done the right, I would have fought righteously against the evil. But we tend to lose that when it comes to contemporary mirroring issues, right? So let's look at the fact or the issue of slavery, for example. The issue of slavery back a couple hundred years ago, I think most Christians today would say that if you lived back then, it would have been unrighteous for you to support the pro-slavery party, which was the Democratic Party back then, incidentally. Not really incidentally, but you know what I mean. I think most of us today would say if you were at a church where a pastor said it was okay to vote pro-slavery back then, that you would leave that church. That would be righteous for you to tell other people to leave that church. I think most people today would agree with that. In fact, I think most people today would say that you ought to have been supporting the anti-slavery politicians back then as much as possible, whether voting for them or ideologically supporting them, morally supporting them publicly. We would say that the Christians who did that back then were righteous. The Christians who voted for and verbally supported the pro-slavery party were wicked, and that the Christians who said, let's all get along, were negligent and were enabling the wicked, right? I think most of us would agree with that about that situation back then. But we shy away from having that kind of moral certainty when it comes to an analogous situation today with abortion. And there's just there's no argument to say that abortion is not analogous to slavery. There just isn't. I mean, abortion has killed way more people than slavery did. Abortion is far more barbaric in many respects than slavery was. Today, the people who vote pro-abortion are similar to, morally, theologically, that they're similarly culpable to the people who voted pro-slavery back then. Today, the people who are anti-abortion and who refuse to vote for a pro-abortion candidate are as righteous as those who refuse to vote for pro-slavery candidates back then, no matter what other good things they had going for them. And today, the Christians who say, peace, peace, let's all get along, it's okay if you vote pro-abortion, are just like the enabling, wicked Christians back then who cried, peace, peace, it's okay to vote pro-slavery, let's all just get along, let's all just ignore that, let's just preach the gospel. Right? So that's abortion. Now take Marxism. I would say, and I think a lot of Christians would say, if you were pro-Marxism in Soviet Russia, you were evil. You were morally culpable as a church. And that the Christians who stood up against it were morally righteous. And that the Christians who tried to moderate and say, well, let's all get along, that they were complicitly wicked. Right? Or maybe the socialism of Germany, of Nazi Germany, because Germany was national socialist. That's what Nazi means. It's a National Socialist Party. If you were voting for it, you were wicked. If you were saying, peace, peace, let's just trying to get along. You were complicitly enabling it, and therefore you were wicked. So we need to repent of our LARPing. We need to repent of treating the past as if it's really, really serious, and as if we would have done what was right and righteous and moral and good, and of ignoring those same or similar issues today. We need to repent of that. We need to gird up the loins of our minds and think about the fact that we are currently living in the midst of historical crises, that 100 years from now, our descendants are going to look back at us in shame for how we were complicit with our moderation today.